in Europe for the last 3 weeks. It was a very, very interesting experience. The craziest thing about going to Europe as a black African is that you have to, even as a South African, even as a white guy, I don't know what race you are, I've been thinking about it. But we'll work it out together, you know what I mean? And, but like as a South African, if you want to go to Europe, right, you got to apply for a visa, which I find very weird because when Europeans visited us, they colonized the whole continent and then they made rules as to how we visit them, right? That's essentially what a visa is, right? So when you apply for a visa, the country that you're going to wants to make sure that you're not going to stay too long, and the country that you're leaving wants to make sure that you come back, right? Now, I'm applying for my visa, and they say to me, how do we know that you're going to come back? And I say to them, guys, I'm black, okay? We've got BEE, we've got affirmative action, we've got possibilities of land reform. Of course I'm coming back. I'm serious. When they start handing out land, I want to be at the front of the line. So I can call dibs on Table Mountain. That's what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I'll build the most ridiculous house ever. You'll fly past Table Mountains, DSTV, satellites everywhere. Everywhere. Now, the crazy thing is that when you're applying for your visa, right, the one thing that they need to make sure is that you actually have an itinerary. They've got to make sure that you've got your flight sorted out and that you're going to get accommodation. Now, the problem with the itinerary is that some people are stupid enough that they actually pay for the flights and then sometimes their visa gets rejected and they have to try to get a refund and they maybe only get 50%, right? But I was smart because I went to this travel agent. They said, you pay 250 Rand, we will reserve the flight for you, and then you take the reservation through and everything is all good. While I'm doing the reservation, they say to me, oh my God, you're going to be flying Air France. Air France is so amazing. Oh my God, mums, you're going to love it. Air France is beautiful. Lots of fucking leg room. The hostesses are amazing. It's just great. So I'm excited, right? Now it's time for me to actually go to Europe. Now, the French are known for aviation. But I just don't think that Air France got the memo. Because the French, I don't know if you guys know this, right? The French actually invented the Concorde. The Concorde could get from Paris to New York in less than 3.5 hours. Less than 3.5 hours. For me to go to Cape Town, it takes me 2 hours, right? The distance to New York is 6,000 kilometers. The distance to Cape Town is 1,500. That means that they do 4 times the distance in only double or 1.5 amount of the time, right? So the French are known for aviation. But I was so disappointed with Air France because the first thing, the air hostesses are so old, guys. The retirement age, the general retirement age for an Air France air hostess is 50. I think that's where Air France starts. That's where they start. I don't think they read that properly. Because they're old, they're crusty. You know, when they come down the aisle, I thought they were gonna come up to me like a beggar from Cape Town. You know, just, don't you have a tour there for me, sir? I was shocked. I was actually shocked. You know what I mean? And like, you know when you fly Kalula.com, they're young, they're beautiful, they're fresh, the men are good looking, do you know what I'm saying? I think that Air France is where Kalula.com air hostesses go to die. It was the worst thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. It was the worst thing. When I looked at them, I was like, I think you might have grandchildren who are flying Emirates. I mean, this is crazy. It's crazy, right? Now they hand me this food. Now, like airplane food is never really good, okay? But they hand me this food and they gave me polenta. Guys, I don't think if you know what polenta is, okay? Polenta is a fancy word for pap. Who the fuck goes to France for Iwiza? I mean, that makes no sense. So I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off because the French are known for good cuisine. But I just don't think that Air France got the memo. Now we land at Charles de Gaulle Airport. Charles de Gaulle Airport is one of the biggest airports in France, right? And the crazy, actually in Europe, right? And the crazy thing about it is that just to get to my next connecting flight, I had to take a bus and a train. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt like I was commuting from Tembisa to Joburg. This was ridiculous, right? Now we get there, and I had 45 minutes to get to this flight. This thing is so big that I almost missed the flight, and I couldn't afford to miss the flight because when you're traveling with rands, in Europe, you can't afford to miss a flight. If I missed that flight, this would have been the shortest set ever. Now I get there, get to Paris, and then from Paris I have a connecting flight to Nuremberg, land in Nuremberg. Now, we land in Nuremberg. Nuremberg is in Germany. The Germans are known for efficiency, but I just don't think that Air France got the memo. Because I land there, and they lost my luggage. I've never been so pissed off in my life. Guys, they lost my luggage. And I was there for 3 weeks, so it was a big bag, right? And I'm standing there, and I'm so pissed off, and I say to these guys, I'm serious. Like, if you don't get my luggage, I'm actually going to sue you guys. And they looked at me, and they were just like, well, you know, you can't really sue us without a case, huh? And he was right. Like, he was right. So now I'm in a situation where we have to go to, and there was an Asian guy who was in front of me. He also lost his luggage. Now we have to go convert currency, right? We're converting currency, and the Asian guy gets there. He gives them 10,000 yen, Chinese yen, and he gives them the 10,000 Chinese yen. And he says, yeah, I just want to convert into euro. And then So obviously the guy behind the counter is like, oh, okay, well, you know, today with the conversion rate, you get 1,500 euro. And this Asian guy's pissed off. He was like, yesterday when I was in Paris, I got 6,000 euro. 6,000 euro. What is the difference? And the German looks at him and he says, fluctuations. And the Asian guy's like, fluctuations? Fuck you, Germans! And he walked away. And I'm laughing at this, not because it was funny. I was laughing because I was so angry that he was angrier than me. You know when you're angry and someone else is angrier than you? It's a much better situation because then you feel like you're not the only asshole in the situation. Do you know what I mean? It was the most craziest thing. Then the worst thing that actually happened is that I actually got I got a really big opportunity in Germany to actually live there long term, right? But I had to do this meeting, and I happened to be in Holland at the time, and I needed to get a cheap flight from Holland to Munich, right? So I looked for a flight, and the cheapest flight that I found was Air France. Now I have to listen to how crazy this flight is. I have to do a flight at 8 o'clock in the evening from Holland, from Amsterdam. So I leave Schiphol. From Schiphol, I have to go through to Paris. Paris, I stay there for 6 hours, and then at 7 o'clock in the morning, I then fly to Munich and get there at 9. My meeting is at 10, okay? Now, when I get to Paris, I think to myself, 6 hours is a long time. I'm going to take a train into Paris so I can do what everybody does on Instagram. Take pictures with the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, and make it seem as if I'm living this life every day, right? That's all I wanted to do. So as I land at the airport, I say to we land there, and I go to the Air France counter, and I say, hey, listen, how much is a train ticket to go into Paris? I want to go see the Eiffel Tower. They say to me, it's 15 euro. So I give them the 15 euro, they give me the ticket. Then I say to them, okay, so where do I go for the trains? And she says to me, no, but the train that you want just left an hour ago. I'm so pissed off at this point that I actually say to her, what kind of a fucking Mickey Mouse operation are you running here? I was so pissed off. No, honestly, I said those words. What kind of a Mickey Mouse operation are you running here? When I left, my final flight that I had to do to come back from Paris back to Johannesburg, right? This was last week. I was supposed to land on Wednesday, right? The flight was delayed by a whole day. A whole day. We were flying an Airbus A380. That fits 853 people. Do you understand how fucking pissed off I was? That's 853 people who have to now leave the gate, go to security. 853 people now have to go back into check-in. 853 people have to now get a new ticket. 853 people now have to go to the shuttle to get to the hotel that they put us at. And the hotel they put us at was the Dream Castle in Disneyland Paris. Now we get to the hotel. As soon as we get to the hotel, there's 850 people that we now have to get into the hotel. By the time I got to the hotel, because Air France has a partnership with Disneyland Paris, by the time I get to the front, I actually said to them, guys, what kind of a fucking Mickey Mouse operation are you running here? And they looked at me dead in the eye. They looked at me dead in the eye and they said to me, the Mickey Mouse operation that we are running here is Disneyland Paris. We have Donald Duck, we have Mickey Mouse, we have Daffy, Huey, Louie, Dewey, we have it all. I was so pissed off. I went to my room, and now, you know when you hear about a big company, you want to find out how much this company is worth. I go into my hotel room, and I actually check to see what they gross a year, right? Their gross is 1.2 billion euro. Do you understand how much that is in rands? That's close to 18 billion rand. Then, just for fun, I wanted to convert it into Zim dollars. Do you know how many Zim dollars that is? It's 463, 10,054, 900. Listen properly. It's 642, 10, 50, 926, 29. Craziest thing ever. Craziest thing. So anyway, with all the bullshit that's happening with Air France, I found myself in Germany, and now I'm actually on holiday, right? Now, the crazy thing about Germany is that, when you think, like in your mind, you always think like German efficiency, right? Germans are very, very efficient and they're very logical, right? I had a girlfriend in Germany, and the thing with Germans is that they take everything too logical, right? If I say to you, how are you doing? I'm actually it's just a form of greeting, right? You say, how are you doing to Germans, they take it as a scientific, actual answer. So you say, how are you doing? They're like, well, my throat is sore, my back is just a little bit heavy, I've got cramps over here. It's the most ridiculous thing. But the beautiful thing about Germany is that there is this thing called shared mobility, right? Now, shared mobility is the coolest thing I've ever seen. You know those electric scooters that you know what it's like to have a Ben 10, right? They have those cute little, hey man, how old are you? So now they have these cute little electric scooters, right? But to activate the electric scooter, all you have to do is you download an app, you use the app unlocks the thing, you take the electric scooter, you go to wherever you need to go, and then you can leave it where you leave it, you lock it now, and then you go, and someone else can use it after you, right? They have the same thing with bicycles, they actually have the same thing with proper scooters, and they have the same thing with cars. And I saw this and I was like, yo, guys, I've got to take this back to South Africa. But I'm telling you right now, with the criminals here, those things will get stolen so quick. You'll end up getting into a taxi, a minibus taxi, and you'll see the actual driver, he's using a fucking... and I forgot the word. But now, the very serious situation that I experienced in Germany, because I was black in Germany, and Germany has a history, right? I'm black in South Africa, and South Africa has a history, right? We've got apartheid, and they've got the Nazis, right? So I wanted to find out how serious racism still is in the country. Do you know that still to this day, they play a game called 10 Kleine Niggerlein, okay? That literally, translated, is 10 little Negroes. It's a game they play, 10 little Negroes, right? Plus, they also still play Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, which comes from the States. And if you don't know the actual words for it, it's Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, catch a nigger by his toe. If he hollers, let him go, Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. My mother says I must choose this one, which came from the slave trade, right? That's how I used to pick slaves, right? Then they have another game, which is called Who's Afraid of the Big Black Man, right? And on top of that, it was Europeans who actually converted playing cards. Now, the way that we have playing cards today, the black is spades and clubs, okay? Which is the implication that black people are just good for labor and for fighting, right? And then on the other hand, you've got love and prosperity, which is just ridiculous, right? So I'm really nervous being in Germany because there's just a lot of tension, there's a lot going on. So the first thing I did is I said to myself, I'm black in Europe, I need to do this right. So here's some tips for you if you are black or South African and you want to go to Europe, okay? Don't dress to blend in. Dress like a tourist. Have a K-way jacket, have jeans, socks with slops, get a DSLR camera around your neck. Because if you dress to blend in, they're going to think you're an immigrant, and they're going to look at you, and they're going to be like, oh, this is just another black person trying to take my job, right? You don't want to be in that situation. The second thing is everybody who goes to Europe, they always want to go to the big cities in Europe. Don't go to the big cities in Europe. Go to the small little villages that have never seen a black person before. And then you convince them that you're God. Because if they ask you silly questions like, why is your skin so black? You're like, hey, bruh, heaven's by the sun, okay? We're all black up there, you know what I mean? It's very tricky. Because while I was in Germany, I wanted to try out some very, very hectic jokes. You know when you're in Germany, what is the one joke you want to do in Germany? You want to do a Hitler joke, right? And the first time I performed in Frankfurt, right, sold out show, the first joke that I say when I get on stage is I get on stage and I say, so Hitler walks into a bar filled with Jews. Same reaction. They're all like, oh, how, oh. Okay, they're German, so they just all did one, oh. And then I said to them, no, don't worry, I'm not going to finish that joke, but I just want to let you know that joke killed in Poland. I had to talk about, like, I said to them, what do you guys want me to talk about? You know, like, do you guys know anything about South Africa? And the one person puts their hand up and they're like, I know where South Africa is. And I'm like, you know the directions are in the name. You know that. I think everybody knows where South Africa is. I know that, and I was educated in a third world country. I mean, that's fucking bullshit, right? So anyway, I say to them, so what do you guys want me to talk about? Like, what do you want to know about Africa? And they say, talk about the food crisis. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, well, you know, we do have a food crisis in Africa, you know. I actually saw, before I even left for Germany, I saw this McDonald's advert. McDonald's is taking advantage of us, hey? They think that we're stupid. They had an advert that had a chicken fucking fold over. A chicken fold over. And this is what the text said. It said, unleash your inner foodie with the chicken fold over. Guys, there are malnourished children in South Africa who know that it doesn't take a Michelin star to fold 2 fucking patties with a roti. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make you special. So I say to them, okay, cool, yes, we have a food crisis. It's intense. You know, my dad passed away 6 years ago, but when he was alive, he couldn't really cook that well. And every time he tried to make us eat food, you know, he would always say to us, do you know there are starving children in Africa? And I'd be like, yes, Dad, I'm one of them. I spoke about they wanted me to speak about the water crisis. I spoke about that. And then the one person said to me, why did you come to Germany? And I said to them, oh, it's very simple. The biggest historical event that ever happened in Germany happened in 2005. And it made me so excited. It made me so proud to be black. Do you know what that moment was? In 2005, Heidi Klum and Seal got married. Guys, I was like, no, serious, I'm serious. I was like, if Scarface can marry a beautiful German model, I've got a chance. And to be honest, honestly, if you think about it, guys, just think about it realistically, right? If you think about it realistically, Germany and Africa go very well together. You know what I'm saying? And I think Germany thought that 200 years ago as well. That's a colonization joke. I tried that. I got the same reaction there. They didn't like it. I lost my virginity to a European, so my penis is being colonized as well. I'm comfortable, very comfortable with that whole thing. But there is a very safe place where black people can actually travel. It's called Africa, right?